Hello again and welcome to Your Money That Has. And this week we're back with our old friend Deetak Lalwani. He's the director of India at the stockbrokers, the London-based stockbrokers of Astaire and Partners. Welcome back, Deepak. It's always good to see you.
Thank you.
Last time we talked, the Sensex, the main index in India, had enjoyed a sensational bounce upwards. I mean, what's been happening since then?
Well, positive election results, and then we've had reassuring economic data that a recovery is in place. So, for example, car sales up 31% in July, the sixth consecutive month of increased car sales. Industrial production up for the third consecutive month. Also, corporate earnings for the quarter to June 30th have surprised on the upside. All this is good news, but of course there's also been some bad news, and that relates to the monsoons.
I mean, how does the monsoon, obviously it affects crop production, and I'm thinking here in particular tea, but how does that affect investors? What effect does it have on the portfolio?
Well, it's much broader than just tea. So, for example, the monsoons are so important to the Indian economy and therefore economic growth because it affects consumer demand, because only 40% of arable land is irrigated in India. Therefore, there's a large dependence on the rains. If the rains fail, as it looks as they may this year, farm income is reduced, they have less money to spend, consumer demand goes down, it has a knock-on effect, and therefore also on companies because their revenues go down, profitability, etc.
And presumably then you're sucking in food imports as well, aren't you? And that has implications for the broader macroeconomy.
Well, fortunately, that side actually looks okay because they've got enough buffer stocks to see them through. The question is, yes, inflation may tick up, may rise. It has been rising already, but there are enough food stocks so that food security is not a threat.
And looking ahead for the rest of the year, I mean, you mentioned some staggering figures there of growth and demand, both from consumers and capital goods. What do you see likely sort of drifter of the Sensex and indeed the Nifty over the next 4 or 5 months?
Well, my band was 12,500 at the bottom, 16,000 at the top.
For the Sensex? For
the Sensex. In the short run, I think that will be the peak, 16,000, till we have greater clarity on the monsoons. So for long-term investors, medium and long-term investors, I would say buy on dips. 14,500 down to about 13,000, buy on dips and accumulate. For the short-term investor, up to 6 months, my suggestion would be really wait till we have the results of the monsoons. By early September, you'll have greater clarity as to what the economic impact would be of the failed monsoons and to what extent they would have failed.
And what are you looking at in terms of things that you would think about talking to clients about adding to their portfolio sectors? I mean, before you've mentioned infrastructure was a big one for you.
I'm a great fan of infrastructure because the infrastructure in India is so poor that it needs addressing, and it's a long-term story. So that will extend out to 5, 10, 15 years. So infrastructure still is the mantra. But then we have other very interesting sectors as well. Automobiles, the cars. We've got pharmaceuticals, especially generic companies. We've got metals, IT, capital goods. They all look very, very interesting.
Deepak, thanks very much indeed.
My pleasure.
Deetak Lalwani is there. He's the director of India at the London-based stockbrokers Astaire and Partners. That's it for this week, but don't forget to keep up to date with all the latest news and views online and, of course, in the Saturday and Sunday papers. Thanks for watching, and please do join us again next time.